Hi all. So a while ago on YouTube, I stumbled down a wormhole of small kitchen appliance reviews. As I was looking to buy an air fryer and perhaps maybe a pressure cooker, that's when I stumbled across one of the worst YouTube chefs of all time. His name is Jack Scalfani, as I like to call him, Jack Salmonella Scalfani. I watch video after video of him butcher, sometimes quite literally, recipes. Imagine driving slowly past a multi-car pileup on the interstate. That's my face as I watched him teach the internet how to make partially cooked meals of varying types and taking awful and unneeded shortcuts to recipes that are already quick to prepare. The absolute horror of Jack's lazy man chefing, air quote, techniques to my boyfriend Tom. And now, since we can't unsee it, we are opening your eyes to it as well. I'm Michelle, and I welcome you to join us for this horrific journey, better known as Pink Chicken and the Lazy Man.
Welcome back, folks!
It's Pink Chicken and the Lazy Man!
Or the Ladies' Man, if you prefer.
Some of us prefer, but others are just like, huh.
Some of us look at me with a quiet disdain when I say things like that.
Yeah, pretty much. So we're back after...
Not that far. A couple days.
Yeah, just a couple days,
we've been putting out some good product. We've been productive.
But if you feel like it takes, a couple days to edit the episode, so really we're about a week out. And this was the first episode coming back from that we felt like we really needed to react to, and that's chocolate sauerkraut cake -YUMM! Exclamation point.
I don't know how I feel about the 2 M's, because normally if you're going for like...
If you're
going
going
for
2, you might as well 3.
Right, why not the 3rd? Why not
Yeah.
Why not 3 M's? Why not... Again, 1 M is just yum. Like 3 M's is yum. This is just yum. Like it's very, it's awkward. It's very cut off at the end.
Yeah, it's weird.
I don't know what that is.
And yum is subjective. I don't think it really is yum. But
since we are still quarantined under stay-at-home orders because of this viral pandemic, we are watching this video only 12 hours after he released it.
So he has 2,100 views from 12 hours ago. So this is a Paco Taco Tuesday, March 31st, that we are recording this. Whether or not it'll get released on the same day, probably not, but not too far out from here.
We try to edit out all the background noises, but that's going to be difficult because, of course, we have a kitty.
Say hello to Thor, everybody. He's chasing a spring.
It's one of his favorite little plastic toys. I happened to dig it out from under the refrigerator tonight because I heard something rattling around back there, so I pulled out both of his springs. So he's very happy that he's been reunited with his toy, and he's showing it by running all around the house, batting the thing like a little soccer ball.
Yeah, he's the Gray Pele, I guess. I don't know.
Gray
anyway, Gray Pele.
Gray Pape?
Gray Pape. So I guess we're gonna get into it here, but before we start here, a couple things to note. Because we've talked about it in other episodes. This video is only 8 minutes and 22 seconds. We will discuss this again at the end of the video.
It's short by Jack standards.
Right. Which, as a spoiler alert, I don't want to, if you're just tuning into this first episode of us, go back and listen to the last 2 and you'll understand why this is important. Another spoiler is we watched a couple other episodes of YouTube videos making a similar recipe but not the same recipe. He screws this up by their standards in a number of ways that we'll point out as we go along through the video here.
So he's making a chocolate sauerkraut cake, which is essentially a chocolate cake with sauerkraut added. So we've done a little research on why somebody would do this. Originally I thought it was a punchline that just went stale. But somebody said, well, I want a German chocolate cake. Well, how German do you want your German chocolate cake? I want my German chocolate cake so German it has sauerkraut in it. I want my German chocolate cake so German it's wearing lederhosen. I want my German chocolate cake so German it's invading Poland. That could be too far.
That went too far. Okay. Not too far. But, so there's a couple things that we noticed that he did wrong based on other people's videos and based on other recipes.
But getting back to the sauerkraut thing, so we did find there are some molecular gastronomic reasons to add sauerkraut to a chocolate cake mix.
Ooh, I have notes on that. Hold on 1 second here. Let me pull them out. Okay, so there are 3 reasons that you would want to do this.
3. There's going to be a test later. Make sure you get all 3. Everybody have their Ticonderogas and their notebook pencil and their notebook pads ready? Black marble composition book for you Catholic school kids.
The role... Okay, I'm going to read this democratandchronicle.com article for you. The role sauerkraut plays in chocolate cake is threefold. First, it adds a moistness and a tenderness that is buoyant, not dense.
Say moistness again into the mic.
Moistness.
And there's our ASMR fan base.
Anyway, second, there is a slight acidic tartness or tang that adds backbone to sweet desserts, much in the same way that buttermilk or sour cream does. Third, there is a nice textural element that is similar to coconut.
Textural element.
Yes.
Textural element.
Textural element. Elephant. Anyway.
Yes.
So those are the three things that we're looking for here. And because we've watched this video, I don't know, 2-3 times already, I can tell you that definitely the not dense thing is, while a spoiler alert, is a situation that occurs in this video. Let's get into it and we'll talk about it, we'll discuss it. So if you're gonna sync up your clocks with us, your YouTube videos with us, here we go. We're getting in there.
All right, we have mute on. We are looking at the TV. We have Jack on the screen. We are at 000 seconds, and we are hitting play. So here he is. He's wearing his black Cooking with Jack cap today, with his black Cooking with Jack shirt.
Very matchy. So we're getting into it. We see all the ingredients here, and Jack wants you to know this is not a keto recipe. And here's why it's not a keto recipe according to Jack. Because it has sugar.
A little like a cup and a quarter amount of sugar to it. But Jack is adding a secret ingredient here that none of the other sauerkraut chocolate cake recipes we watched on YouTube are adding.
Store-bought frosting.
Canned frosting, because again, the whole purpose of this is to make a lighter frosting for it. Nope, he's just going a big old can of Pillsbury milk chocolate frosting. And he's adding chocolate chips, both to the cake itself when he bakes it and to the icing when he finishes.
So we're going through the ingredients. As you know, we have chips, we have the store-bought icing, we have vanilla, we have cocoa, we have baking powder, flour.
Ironically, and this is just a little weird thing, the last 2 videos ago when he used vanilla, he used a big jar of McCormick real vanilla extract. Now he's got a store-bought imitation jar of vanilla.
So he has a huge, going back through the ingredients, he had some eggs and some other things, sugar, whatever. He had a huge container of
Vlasic brand sauerkraut.
Thank you, Vlasic brand sauerkraut. Huge. And I was like, oh my god, is he going to use that whole thing? No, it's about, I guess, 1.5 cups to a cup. Do we know? I don't.
Oh, now getting back to his texture
tell.
Ingredients. Yeah, I think he used like 1.5 cups. Most people use like 1.25 cups or 1.25 cups. So he's got a little bit more sauerkraut going in this than the other recipes.
And he takes it and he puts it in a strainer and he puts a bowl underneath it and he basically wrings it out.
Yeah, he presses it through a little plastic colander.
He would use a sieve if he had one, blah, blah, blah.
So what he's doing here is he's drying the sauerkraut out by robbing it of its own natural juices. And he's not rinsing it, which a lot of the other recipes that we watched
if
did.
You rinse it, it takes out the bitterness and then it also keeps the moisture in. And they also slice it here at this point. So he's basically, I don't know. So I guess it
looks pretty dry.
The sourness of it is still in there.
Yeah, because he hasn't rinsed it away. So it's all trapped in there.
So now he's blending it, or I'm sorry, not blending it.
He's chopping it in the food processor.
Food
got a little KitchenAid brand food processor with a little handle switch on it, which is neat. But he might also be blending it too much because, again, you're looking to have the texture of the sauerkraut in there.
Yeah.
Like the stringiness of like a coconut flake.
Right.
You want a little bit of flake to it. He just basically turned it into puree.
So now we're into mixing the dry ingredients. We have cocoa powder. I guess flour is what's going on.
Yep, he's got cocoa. Now this is he's got salt in there and baking powder.
Okay.
But he doesn't have baking soda.
Oh.
All the other recipes we watched had baking soda and baking powder. So either Jack just simply forgot it, or his recipe didn't think he called for it, and that could affect the texture of the cake when we get to seeing the part at the end.
No, the the cake actually, surprisingly, I don't want to spoil it, at the end looked pretty good, but it's Jack, so how good could it really be? But here we go. This is where it gets confusing. So I guess this is the point where we're mixing the wet ingredients. We have the butter in there. We have the mixing with the
Well, he's creaming
sugar.
the butter. He's creaming the butter and the sugar together.
We have the vanilla.
Acting like he's never done this before, even though he's at a cooking show on YouTube for 12 years. He just slams the butter, which looks a little too cold. The butter doesn't look room temperature, so
it's not softened
as soft
at all.
as it should be.
No.
And then he just slams the mixer in there and turns it on high.
Yep. And then so we have 3 bowls of 3 eggs separated. I don't know if these eggs are supposed to be mashed together, if it's only supposed to be yolks.
I have a theory.
Okay, go for it.
I think Jack's lacking in reading comprehension here. Okay. I think what his recipe said was, in a bowl, separate 3 eggs. Mm-hmm. So he read it as separate 3 eggs into individual bowls. Not take 3 eggs and combine them in one bowl, but set them aside. Don't immediately dump them in, because you got to cream the sugar with the butter first.
Right. No, that's not what I'm getting here either.
Now he's incorporating the dry ingredients with the wet. As part of this recipe, you're supposed to add a cup of cold coffee to it, which he's doing, but of course he dumps coffee water in first before he dumps he adds the powder before he dumps the coffee, and so of course that also splashes.
And so we end up with another poop log. Poop log, poop log.
If you're playing along at home, folks, with your bingo cards, you can now mark off poop log on the Cooking with Jack bingo cards. Soon to be available on our web store. We don't have a web store.
No, we don't.
So now he's mashing the masticated sauerkraut with all of its sour juice intact into his way too thick batter.
Well, right.
His batter looks like brownie batter.
Yeah, we should talk about the batter because it came out way too thick, and I don't know why that is. Something that he screwed up here in the process of making this.
He didn't have the baking soda, and Tammy stepped in to mix this for him. And if you saw, she never really put the mixer on high when she was mixing all the ingredients in, because she's like, oh, this is getting kind of thick or whatever. But she never really mixed it together on high. Normally, when you do a cake batter like this, you're trying to aerate that batter as much as possible, especially if it seems a little thick. You get around like, oh, my mixture, it's not wet enough.
Well, I can't say that Tammy is a cook or a chef or anything like that, but she's just stepping in to make sure that her kitchen does not turn into a disaster, I'm sure.
He mentioned at the top of the video that she had no interest in this cake because, again, it just seems counterintuitive to put sauerkraut, which is a very sour item, hence the name, into a sweet, like a chocolate cake.
Yeah, she does not want to try it. She wants nothing to do with it. So, what are the chances that anyone in this household, besides
So we're looking at
Jack,
the results.
He's got
so in addition to putting the chocolate chips in there, which are going to affect the baking temperature, you can see his cake has not risen. His cake did not rise above the edge of that 9x13 pan, which, by the way, he sprayed with vegetable oil spray and then floured anyway, because he was too lazy to butter or grease the pan.
He cuts a piece out, and what also boggles my mind is the chocolate chips, which I understand having as a frosting situation, like you put the frosting on, you put the chocolate chips on the top. Perfect. Mixing it into the already poop-like substance that is the batter does not make any sense to me. And it probably made the problem of the really thick batter worse.
Again, we watched 6 other recipes on this. Nobody else used chocolate chips in their mix because, again, this is supposed to be like a German chocolate cake, which is a lighter chocolate cake. It's supposed to be a little lighter. Not supposed to be dense like a brownie. His is very brownie-like because, again, he put chocolate chips in it. Also, that's going to affect the way the thing bakes with the baking temperature, because the chocolate chips has a different melting point. When they melt, it affects the batter, so he's going to have lots of problems. As a baker, he's going to have lots of problems with this.
A baker he is not, that's for sure.
And his flour was very caked. His flour was very lumpy, and he did not sift it. Most of the other recipes we saw, everybody sifted their flour, either with a hand sifter or with a little mechanical sifter, or they just sifted it through a sieve. Mm-hmm. He did none of those things. So, of course, his batter came out way too heavy. So this is basically like a chocolate brownie with sauerkraut in it.
The other thing that we saw with the eggs, too, is, people beat the 3 eggs together. Not just, adding an egg in its original form. They took the 3 eggs, they beat them all together, and then they dumped it in. I don't know what difference that would make because, like I said, I don't bake all the time. I'm not a baker. I don't like baking desserts. But I feel you'll have textural differences.
If you feel bad for the lazy man that he's not getting the desserts you think he should, folks, you can send baked goods. We'll give you our address. We'll give you an email address and say, where can I send the lazy man baked good desserts? But not until after Easter, because I'm on Lent right now.
Yeah, he can't have any wheat. Thank you very much for thinking about us. But until Lent is over, I don't think we should accept any desserts. So we get to the end here. And actually, he cuts out a piece of cake. On the plate, honestly, it doesn't look bad to me. It looks quite decent.
Like a brownie.
Like a brownie, but it's still something edible, which is, by Jack's standards, amazing. Amazing things, like, have happened here where he has something that he's made, thrown shit together and actually made something that is edible. So I'm proud of him in that regard, but...
I'm proud of him that he has not padded this... I'm proud of him, because we're getting towards the end of the video here, that he's not padded his runtime to get himself over the 10-minute barrier.
Oh, spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
We only have 20 seconds of title card here. Now that might simply be because he's already put another ad into this for himself. He's now advertising his "It's a before barbecue season starts 3-4 sale."
Yeah,
there's no grammar there.
Three of any sauce or any seasoning for $10, and this is a really janky looking advertisement that he made in like maybe Microsoft Paint. I'm really not sure what's
Affinity
going on
Photo.
here. Okay.
That's his favorite Photoshop Lite program because he doesn't like giving Adobe money more than once. I don't like that Adobe Creative crowd.
Well, you know what's interesting here, since we're getting into the spoiler alerts at the end where he hasn't padded out the video. The video is less than 10 minutes here. Is he not monetizing this video? What's going on here? Is he listening to us? Now I'm like self-conscious. Is Jack himself listening to us and is like, hey, they're on to me, I better not do the thing? I don't know. Maybe he's just given up on life. Who knows?
Well, he mentions in this one that the reason he's having this sale is he needs to clear out the warehouse, which I imagine is his garage. I think, again, Tammy seems to be having to step into these videos more, and he's having to let her. And I don't think Jack is very good at delegating authority. And I think once she gets into the details of what's going on here, once she becomes more involved, she's like, oh, what are you doing? When's the last time you sold a bottle of sauce? Like, let's get rid of that.
Yeah.
It's too much, you're carrying too much overhead here. I don't know, I haven't watched him closely enough to realize, does he do this every season? But
no.
If you think about what he's doing, he's basically selling last year's sauce to you for this year's barbecue. Now I know, barbecue sauce, and if it's not opened, a jar of barbecue sauce will last a while. It's got vinegar in it. It's gonna last for a while. But still, he's making this out like he's cutting you in on a deal, and basically what he's doing is he's dumping last year's inventory, and he mentions that on camera. So shrewd business guy Jack. Yes. Oh, and if you want to, folks, it's three of any sauce or seasoning is only for $10.
Comment and like and share, but also tell us, should we buy some of these barbecue sauces and seasonings to try here on our foods?
Oh God, that would be good for our first YouTube video. That'd be good for our first video review.
Oh, that would be a good. Oh, by the way, speaking of YouTube videos, if you go on our Facebook page, which is Pink Chicken and the Lazy Man, I think it's facebook.com/PCandTLM. I created a Gordon Ramsay, because I've been threatening this for a while. A Gordon Ramsay versus Jack Scalfani video. And I'm terrible at editing, but I had a good time doing it. So if you like that and share it, I would appreciate the heck out of you. So without further ado, we'll get into the rest of this video here where Jack shows you the poop cake. And of course you see it for 3 seconds before the Convoy of Hope paragraph comes up at the bottom of the screen.
Once again, in his thought of is he listening to us, he's actually moved the cutting board back, so it's hanging off the back end of his kitchen island a couple of inches.
See that, yeah.
So we can see the dessert a little bit more. I wonder if now I'm having suspicions that he might actually be listening to us.
Hi Jack, will you send me an autograph? Thanks.
We're inside your head, Jack.
Michelle.
We're inside your head. So we get past that, and now we're back on the static title card, but it's only up for 20 seconds.
Yeah,
his video cuts out at 8:02. The title card's there for only 20 seconds.
And again, it's under the 10-minute mark. So does he get monetized for this? Not monetized? There were ads when I watched it earlier at the beginning. There are ads at sometimes at the end. I don't know. But again, once again, he's in the YouTube picker because Babish released a video at the same time. And his video was Captain Hook cake or pie video, something like that.
I think we want to say that Jack released a video at the same time of Babish. I think Jack's following Babish. I don't think Babish is following Jack.
No, absolutely, you're correct. But it's just the timing is very suspect. So I think we'll leave it here.
Yeah, this will be a short and sweet episode because this is a short and sweet video for Jack.
Yeah, less than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Boink. Nickelback rules.
Oh boy. It's an inside joke escaping from our little zoo of puns and inside jokes here. If you see it, please return it. Don't approach it. It's vicious. That's all we have for you now, folks. If he releases another video towards the later part of the week, we'll probably review that one too and get it out for you.
I feel like Friday we'll be back here talking again. So thank you for joining us.
Thanks for tuning in, folks, and hope to see you next time.
On Pink Chicken and the Lazy Man.
We're going to have to copyright that.
See you guys. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.